It is 5 days into the new year and I already feel like I am failing. January 1st, I wanted to hit the ground running and do all this stuff, and instead I basically laid around, did like one load of laundry, and just read Throne of Glass, which I'm not upset about. It's a good series and I'm enjoying it. But I think it served as a really good reminder that just because January 1st happened and on a Monday doesn't mean that I needed or you need to, set your goals and intentions and do all this stuff right there. To make a lasting change, you need to do it on your own account. So this is kind of a two-part series. The first part is going to be learning how to review the last year and then setting your intentions, goals, and actually making a little action plan for them. And then the next part will be a very satisfying home clean, reset, decorate from the holidays, which I'm very much looking forward to. So the first thing I will always do is kind of do a year in review and just look back at 2023 and give myself a few prompts. These are very open-ended questions that are just kind of a brain dump. It should have no judgment, whatever comes up. Let me grab a pen and paper and let's get to it. Alright, now that I'm cozy, we can get started. I have been loving writing in legal pads lately. I don't know why. So I'm going to do this on a legal pad, but you can write it in a journal, a spiral notebook, in your phone, on your computer. Again, however works for you. And the questions I like to ask myself are, overall, how did 2023 feel? What were the highs and the lows of 2023? And I use highs and lows instead of like accomplishments and failures because I feel it's just a bit softer. And I don't really like to use the word failure because even if you stereotypically failed at something, it doesn't mean that you didn't get anything out of that experience. It could have been a huge life lesson out of this failure, or it could have simply been, I never want to do that again, and that's perfectly fine. And then finally, the last question to kind of round this out is, in an ideal world, what would my 2024 look like? Okay, so I've taken probably like 15 minutes to do this. I was surprised this went a lot quicker for me than I imagined. I'm not going to share everything because some things are super personal, but kind of after you're done with these open-ended questions, read everything over again. And you can circle or highlight, star, underline, whatever, things that really stick out to you, any themes that you see. Again, this is like really diving deep to what came up last year, what are you finding might be helpful for next year? What don't you ever want to do or go through again? I think something that I didn't even realize until I wrote everything out was I had a lot more highs this year. Like, there were a lot more things I could write out as positives for this year than lows. But I think, as we all know, the human psyche, for whatever reason, tends to stick to the negative. Unfortunately, when something bad happens, it can kind of negate all of the good stuff that happened. And taking it a step further, it's why is that what I'm hanging on to? Why do I feel that way? And I wrote, learned a lot, even if most of it was quietly. And I think that explains why I think I look back and it's like, oh, I was so isolated, and I very well could have been, even though we took multiple trips and I saw mainly all of my friends this year. A lot of them don't live, in Philadelphia, so it is a big deal when we can all get together. As a part of a friend's engagement, my social life was pretty active, but I was so in my head this year. not just about YouTube and content, but, about my 9 to 5, about my relationship, about my body and myself and this house and life in general. It was just a very introspective year that I was just dealing with a lot of stuff quietly, and not necessarily bad, but I think that's why a lot of 2023 for me is framed as like isolation and lonely, even though I really wasn't isolated and lonely. I was just, the wheels were just a turning up here. And now, for an ideal 2024, I am looking to find balance and also take everything that I've like internalized and learned and turned into lessons for 2023 and just make 2024 the year of change. That is kind of what I have taken from my 2023. Obviously, this is all very personal to each individual who does it. But now that that's kind of in there, I'm like, okay, so I know I want balance. I know I want change. How are we going to do that? Goals. Personally, I break it up into categories. That is how I kind of think of my life. If you watched my fall video, I kind of talk more about the like breaking everything up and writing the goals. So I will do career, and then self, and then health and wellness, but other categories that you can add depending on, just who you are as a person, how you like to think of your life, are like spirituality, friendship, love life, hobbies, travel, whatever else. But self for me is just like kind of miscellaneous. And I will typically do about 2 to 5 goals per category. All right, so let me get to writing these goals. Are written down. Half are like goals, like the SMART goals that I think a lot of people kind of talk about or teach, and others are more intentions. And I typically more of an intention person because I like the vibes of things, but sometimes they just like mean more to me than trying to put like a number to it. There are steps and like things that I can measure to get me there. So, for example, one of my career goals is tell my story authentically and with purpose, right? How does one measure that? So, in my like large content creation document, I put a column that literally says like purpose ? And in that, I need to be able to fill out what is the purpose of this video, and is it serving like a higher purpose? And I don't mean like God. I just mean, do I really feel connected to this video? Is it for educational purposes, entertainment purposes, getting to know me better, community building? What is the purpose of this piece of content? And I have to say, for what I filled out so far, my content creation for 2024, I think it's been working because it's allowed me to reframe some video ideas so they're just better, for lack of a better word. But there are other things that I can measure. For example, another one in career is complete one brand deal. This is a huge one, and one that I kind of came up with while I was reviewing 2023. I just hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Literally, thank each and every one of you so much for subscribing. It is a number that I thought I was never going to see and was probably the bane of my existence for most of the 4 years. So kind of with that, I was like, after this 1,000, right now I'm kind of like, I don't necessarily like care that much about the subscriber count. I'm just trying to again have like content that has like purpose and meaning versus just gaining subs. But the brand deal, I was like, this would be huge. And that's pretty much all the parameters. This can be like a gifted partnership, a paid partnership, whatever. But a brand deal, and a real brand deal, because if you've ever like posted anything and hashtagged it hashtag lifestyle creator, you've gotten some wacky emails. So then for self, set aside 1 hour per week to write creatively. Obviously this is measurable, but what I do need to do for this is like literally write it into my calendar, or it probably won't happen. The number 2, journal 5 times per week. I usually journal before I go to bed, and I have been pretty good about it, especially because I've been doing the artist's way and having to do morning pages, which I've been doing at night. I don't know if that's wrong. It's just so much easier for me, and I want to keep up with it. 7 days is a lot, so I'm kind of giving myself some slack with the 5 times per week. For health and wellness, I put 1 heavy squat day per week. Again, very measurable. I just need to write it into my calendar, and I just want to see some gains in the weight that I'm lifting, some booty gains. You know how it is. 2, go to the doctors. This is like set reminders on your phone. Find the doctors you need to go to, make the appointments. And then number 3 for health and wellness, nightly stretching and foam rolling. This necessarily isn't like measurable. It's more just keeping myself accountable that I need to do this. As I said, almost 30. We got to keep up with the stretching and foam rolling and using that thing. What's it called? The Theragun. There we go. Did we understand what I meant by hopefully? And then for relationships, I put create a designated date night. Again, this came off of the fall video that I did, and we were good for a little bit, but then we fell off. I feel like I have enough here to push myself without being crazy. Probably the craziest thing is the brand deal sort of situation, because that's a little tiny bit out of my control, but hopefully. And this is also something that like I'm not even thinking about the first half of the year. The first half is really like the content and taking it seriously and with purpose and all of that. And that's pretty much it to make sure that I stay on track and that you stay on track. I make monthly goals, and I typically will post them as reels. So some work into these like larger yearly goals, and others are just like little things I have to do. Like something that's kind of in my head that's been running is like, oh, we needed to get our passports done because we're going on an international trip. And that was kind of a goal that went from month to month to month because we delayed it a little bit, but I can finally check it off. So although that obviously does not really fit into any of the yearly goals, it was something that we needed to get done. So yeah, every month I kind of make my own set of goals. We'll probably take like 1 or 2 of these and try to like work towards them, just so I know I'm staying on track and I am moving forward. Sometimes you're not going to complete all of them, and that's fine. They can just move over to the next month, or you can reevaluate and be like, this really isn't working. I need to change some things up. And I think that's it. That was like a mouthful and really heavy. I didn't expect it to be that heavy on the talking, but it was. As I said, next week, I won't be talking as much. It will be a home reset, decorating. Very excited. I need my house clean to kind of like, just make me a little less anxious. So I will be working through my planner, and I will be posting that on Instagram and TikTok if you want to see that. Follow along for more productivity and lifestyle content. I post new videos every Sunday here on YouTube, and now I'm streaming every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Twitch. Thank you again for 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.